music keeping me alive. Yeah, I work there hard for it.
Hello, Muse and Music, and happy Friday! So today I'm here with Jeff. Tell me, what do you do?
Well, I play bass. Growing up, I was always playing the upright bass, but it was kind of like an extracurricular, a fun time. I didn't think much of it until I picked up the electric bass. That's when I was really felt it, you know?
Okay, so we're here to talk about session musicians.
Yeah.
This is the title, this is the main topic. So, what is session musician?
In a sense, it's like a hired gun. So, just a musician who's hired by an artist or a band or a label to either play live or play in a studio and record.
And how did you decide that that's what you wanna concentrate right now? Because in when it comes to artists, there are artists that want to be like in front, like in the main stage. They want to write the songs, perform the songs, and everything.
Yeah.
And there are people that want to support the artist. They want to surround the main act.
Yeah.
So what it is for you?
Well, I feel like right now that's the quickest avenue to becoming a full-time musician. I've gained this sense that bass players are kind of a rarity. And
It's true, it's really hard to find.
so when you're, I guess, a good enough bass player, then there's more work. And it's also really fun to play bass. You just kind of connect everything, but you get to hang back and see the music shine in front of you. You're like kind of a part of something greater than yourself.
And it's true, like you can see it on your face expressions when I see you play. You're always happy, you're always just like, standing, enjoying the time.
Yeah.
How many bands do you play right now? And
Yeah.
if you can say what was the max that you reached, and how do you know that you can maintain all those bands? How do you manage the time?
Okay. I think that was
It's a lot of questions.
3 in a row. So right now I'm in 3, but I think by the time this airs I'll be in 5, I think. But there was a time a couple of months ago when I was in 8.
8?
8. And so that was at least 1 or 2 rehearsals every single night.
Wow.
And that was too much because I couldn't put the time forward that was good enough for the band or for myself, and it was just spreading myself too thin. And it wasn't very productive, so I had to cut back from that.
And what is the max that you can maintain from knowing yourself?
Well, I guess with a lot of bands, there's kind of like busy stages and then non-busy stages. So theoretically, I could be in a dozen bands as long as their busy stages are kind of sporadic or layered perfectly. But I think 4 to 5 is a good number for me right now. Yeah. Because I want to be able to fully commit and contribute what I can to the band. Because if I'm already playing with them, I have to do my part to make them as good as possible.
I think to give your 100%. Because if you're in 8 bands, but you can't really commit to any, not one of them,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't really worth it. So because you need to practice, you need to be there, for shows, for recordings,
Yeah.
so it's really hard. And how do you manage the time, being there for each band?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. First of all, it is number 1 priority. In my life is playing music and making it with music. So above all else, I rarely go out. I rarely just hang out with friends. I just kind of drive for this music. Another way is meditation.
I think for us musicians, meditation is super important because we're running around, we're working on so many stuff. Sometimes we hear negative things from people, about our songs. We always in certain stress about everything because we're building our own career, especially in the beginning. And I think it's not getting easier when you're famous and big. So I think leaving a couple of minutes or half an hour, I don't know how much for everyone it's different, but to leave a couple of the certain time to meditate and just to relax and take the time to kind of just, I think it's super helpful.
Yeah, everything you do is from your brain. So you have to train your brain in order to train everything else.
I need to try that.
Yes.
Teach me.
Yeah, and then the last way is just a calendar. Like, I wouldn't be able to really function without Google Calendar. So not only scheduling rehearsals and shows, but also practice time for those rehearsals. A lot of things can come up, but if you practice like 2 days before rehearsal, that music's going to already be in you, and it's going to be way easier during the rehearsal than if you did it like the day of or the night before.
Of course, because when you're ready and you also relax because you know that you have everything prioritized, you have everything written. And if you want to watch, I have an episode about time management, about how to schedule everything you have, so the link is down below. After we finish this video, you can go straight there and see how to get this help with prioritizing your time, because it's super important. Okay, so did you ever needed to say no to a band?
Yes.
Because of different reasons, like time, or you don't like the style? How do you deal with a no? Because it's super hard.
Yeah, it is really hard, because there's been multiple people that have asked to play with me that I like really wanted to play with because I thought they were awesome, I thought their music was awesome. But there's kind of like an ebb and flow in how busy people are. Well, at least with me. So it's a lot of it is timing. So if someone asked me when I'm super busy, I'd have to say no. But if the same person asked me when I was like looking for something, then it would be yes. But on top of that, yeah, the music style is really important, because if I'm gonna play for it, I have to like really get into it.
Yeah, you need to enjoy the thing.
Yeah.
Is it hard to say no to a person? It's like, did you find it hard?
When I really like them and their music, then yeah, it's super difficult.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it ever happen to you that you really want to take that and then you need to give up on something that you already have, or like professionally you can't allow that?
That's kind of the nature of this. Like, if a project starts becoming burdensome and you're not really getting as much out of it, then it becomes easier to leave.
And for the band that you are playing for, do you, as a bass player, do you contribute artistically, or you coming straight as a session musician and you get your sheet and that's what you need to play?
That varies wildly.
Depends on the band?
Yeah.
Like, do you find yourself contribute a lot?
Yes.
Yeah?
So sometimes they'll come with like an actual bass line that's like part of the song, and that's what you play. Other times they'll come with like kind of an idea of what you should play. Other times there's nothing. So I always learn the line that's given no matter what, and then try to fit that into the song. And sometimes it's just like a guitar, and then it's like completely up to me to figure out a bass line to fit that. But it's all over the place, and it's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's
cool. 'Cause I think it's also, a lot of time it depends on the band and on the artist how much they want the contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think some of the artists, they have already what they have, and that's how they want to keep it.
Yeah.
And you need to also, I think, understand the person who you're working with.
Yes.
And how much he wants to take the changes, and how he's ready to like compromise, or like he wants to hear different opinions. It's also, I think, it depends.
Yes. And I would say, and this is not like a hard, fast rule, but generally speaking, free gigs, you can contribute more than paid gigs, generally.
Yeah, makes sense, because if the person is paying you, like, this is your money, that's what I want you to play.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
But if it's like, hey, Jeff, do you want to play with me? I have this gig, and, like, I want to create something, and then the contribution is, like, more...
Yes.
More out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, talking about payment, do you get paid, and how, or if you don't, like, do they pay for your expenses? How does it actually work?
It really varies. So I'm still in school. I'm still trying to be the best bassist I possibly can. So I gobble up as many opportunities as possible, which does mean a lot of unpaid work. But then also paid things come along, and I take those too, because, money and whatnot. When I take a free gig, I always try to grow from it. Kind of like push myself in a sense where, like, if I'm doing a paid gig, I feel like I need to play it perfectly, exactly as intended, But with a free gig, because of this expression we were talking about earlier, I feel more comfortable going a bit out of my comfort zone, like maybe singing background vocals or...
Usually, if you're not getting paid, usually the band is paying for your Uber, for your bus, for your I don't know, beer in the bar. Like how does it? They usually pay for it.
It's rare to play for someone and then need to pay for everything. Yeah,
that's what I never hired such a musician, so I don't know. But for me, it makes sense if I hire somebody that I don't pay the person. The least I can do is, like to pay for his way and to buy him a beer or a meal if it's taking too long, and to just kind of like show appreciation. That I usually do that, even if I go with a photographer and ask somebody to take my pictures and stuff like that. I do pay for all the expenses that in the area, because it's only fair, Yeah. When it comes to putting yourself out there as a session musician, as a bass player, what's the way that you use to get people know, hey, I'm a bass player, I'm here for you?
Yeah. Well, I do say that from time to time. Hey, I'm a bass player, I'm here for you. But also, when you play for people, it's not just the person you're playing for that notices how you're doing. It's everyone else in the band. So, if you come on time, if you come prepared, if you come with a good attitude, and you come with your own specified role, they're going to notice that. So let's say the guitar player is playing for another artist and they're like, hey, we need a bass player. The guitar player will think about the positive experiences with different bass players he's had, and then if he likes me, then he would be like, oh, Jeff's a good one.
It's true. That's how I remember you were playing in the artist development show, and I remember because the students, they're all musicians, so they see you, and then for the next artist development show, they're like, oh, Jeff, I remember he was terrific. I want him, and that's how it works.
Yeah, I keep hearing it's becoming much more word of mouth, even in the professional world, and there's less and less auditions.
This is the best way, because word of mouth. The reason it's working is because somebody is telling you, and you trust him. It's not like an advertising online that you see and you're just whatever. It's that the person that told you that it's so it's probably valid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So online advertising, how do you communicate through your social media? What's going on there?
So I was not active at all before I came here. It was actually a fellow bass player that sat me down one day and was like, Jeff, you need to make an Instagram. Okay, fine, jeez. All right. So I did, and I'm still kind of developing it and trying to find my own way to go about it. As of now, I'm kind of just making a little song, playing a bass line over it, and trying to do a little creative video on top of it.
And you had this video that you made.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Filmed on that camera.
Yeah, I'll put a little bit of the video, I'll put the thing. Yeah, I'll put so they can see what you did.
Yeah.
I think short videos like that really show it's so little, but it's so much. For a person that comes to your Instagram to check you out, let's say I want to hire you, and I go to your social media, because that's where usually you get to know a person, and it's very important to show these little things, how you play, how you look like, what's your attitude, because in this specific video that I showed, you can really see okay, he's a smiley person, he has it looks like he has a great attitude, he's funny, and I can see how you play. Yeah. And it's super important to keep creating those videos, because it's amazing.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find the right path to push forward on. And I feel like there's an advantage to making them accessible to everyone. Not just displaying my bass abilities, but something that someone who's not a musician can look at and be like, oh, cool.
Yeah, not only for musicians, because eventually you're an artist, and you're an artist for other people, for the audience. Yeah. So it's also important. Okay, so now for the big question. What is the main goal? What's the long term?
Long term, there's a lot of things I want to do, and I feel like where I'm at in life will kind of define that. right now I feel like traveling the world and playing the bass everywhere would be fantastic. But,
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. And then maybe when I get older and want to have a family or something, maybe just going to a studio and then recording session work. That would be awesome.
When you know where you're aiming for, it's easier to go there, you know. And if you know what you're looking for, you kind of know, like, okay, I'm gonna play in all these bands, and eventually, like, you're gonna just grow your way into, like, you know. And those bands that you're playing for them now, they are getting bigger, you know, and they getting exposed as well. So you're getting exposed as well too. Do you have a tip for a beginning bass player, or a tip for a musician, or something that you would like to share with our viewers here?
Good question. I'm going to say, when you take on a project, do it fully. So if a band asks you to play a song, literally be able to play that song by itself. So like if you just can put a metronome on and play just the bass part, knowing the song is huge. And then on top of that, when being asked to create bass lines, I love just like sitting down and like looping a different section and taking all the time it takes to like craft the perfect line. First, that's good because I think that makes me better at making bass lines. And then that's also something that really is noticed. And like, you might not notice that it's noticed, but it's noticed. People can see that you've put time into what you're playing. And when you're playing on stage, you're gonna be like, yeah, I put time into this. Yeah, it's not like, oh man, I'm just playing this like silly bass line. It's like something you can be proud of. And that's something that's beautiful, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's important because then you have the word of mouth that we talk about, because the band gonna say, I have an amazing bass player, he did all of that, and then he did all of that, he created a bass line, and he was so committed to the project.
Exactly.
So it's super important because the band's appreciating that, and they're gonna tell, if they're gonna talk about it, and the audience gonna see that. So it's basically you're helping out the band and yourself. And I think, so the commitment.
Yeah. Be mindful of what you're playing. So if you feel like the bass line that you were given is awful, then, you know, maybe try to make it better and not just like stew in it.
Yeah, just try to not use the word awful when you're talking to the band. Because some people can take it really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, completely, like, totally, you can contribute. You can always like tell, listen, I have like some suggestions. I have some things that I can add, that I can adjust. Like, and maximum the band will tell you, no, it's fine. We're gonna stick with what we have. Like this, no, it's also fine.
Because what's being performed on stage is a reflection of you, and so why not put the time into it to make it the best version?
Thank you so much for putting the time into it. I know how busy you are. I know how many bands you play and how many things you have to do. All the information about Jeff is below. You can find his social media, his Instagram. Feel free to contact him if you need a bass player. He is really, truly great. And I'll see you in 2 weeks with a new episode.